Many games in the past can be considered Zelda clones, or have paid homage to the illustrious series in some way or another. Perhaps you played Golden Axe Warrior back in the day, or maybe more recently, 3D Dot Game Heroes, Darksiders, or Okami. You can see the influence Zelda has provided to these games, and they all try to add their spin on what the action RPG is. Developed by Wizard Fu Games and published by Double 11, Songbringer's inspiration can be found in the old school, but with its own modern twists. The accidental protagonists, Rock Epimetheos and Jib, normally spend their time making music and partying aboard the spaceship Songbringer. While cruising the galaxy with their compatriots as they normally do, they skirt by the planet Exera. Lightning strikes Rock's hoverbike and tumbles down to the planet's surface. You awaken a few moments later with Jib and the crashed hoverbike. Wanting to return to Songbreaker and living it up, you decide to look around. Inside a nearby cave is a cursed blade, the Nano Sword, which inadvertently awakens a great evil. You pick up the sword, or don't, and go along your merry way. Rock and Jib are far from the silent heroes from their predecessors, but instead indulge in a back and forth of off-kilter comedy that leaves you wanting more. The overworld is divided into squares that pan from one another as you reach the end, reminiscent of the 2D Zelda games. You battle your way through enemies, dungeons, bosses with the Nano Sword, matter bombs, lighter, etc. You have heart containers, courage, which act as your hit points and can be upgraded after defeating bosses as well as finding hidden containers around the world. You find diamonds hidden in cubes and on enemy corpses, which can be used as currency to buy upgrades and consumables. Heck, you even get a top hat which acts as a boomerang. All of this should sound familiar, because it is. But this is where the familiarity stops. When you start your game, you're asked to enter 6 letters. This dictates the seed of your game. From that seed, the game world is procedurally generated, so any 2 people can play completely different maps, or on the flip side, you can choose the same 6 letters and have the exact same map. This opens up the gate for speedrunning, leaderboards, and the like. For those who don't quite understand what procedurally generated is, think of randomizing placement of shops, items, dungeons, and NPCs on the world map. There's also an option for permadeath, which gives the game an almost roguelike feel, and also adds to the leaderboard feature. Another interesting key difference is the ability to combine items. I wouldn't quite call this crafting, as there aren't a huge amount of possibilities, but there are enough to give some essence of choice to how your character plays. For example, you're given ice, which can be combined with bombs, which allow you to freeze enemies in the environment when using them, or you could just as easily combine it with your sword, allowing ice to be shot from it. The ability to complete parts of the game is left unchanged, but the way you complete it changes. These combinations are permanent to that run and cannot be undone, so if you wanted to experiment, you'd have to start a new game. All of this is rendered in a beautiful pixel art style which has become commonplace among the indie games. There's plenty of diversity on Exera, with the rocky outcroppings of the desert regions, the trees and bushes of the grasslands, and the rainy marshes of the swamps. Even though pixelated, there's so much detail and care put into how things look, with reflective surfaces, raindrops on the water, the animations for fire and lightning. I think my only complaint is that there's so much detail that some smaller enemies, which are a lot of them, can get lost in the background and ambience. Sound and music design is a tough one for me with this game. I love the intro with its 80s sci-fi synth feel, however after that, it felt as if the music just sort of dropped off. Not to say it's bad, just hollow, lacking. Sound effects, on the other hand, I felt were done very well, especially the Nano Sword, which gives a satisfying hum as you swing it around. If you couldn't tell, I very much enjoyed Songbringer, however I do find it difficult to recommend to everyone. There are so many quality of life aspects of modern gaming that people enjoy, a certain level of hand-holding if you will. Like more old-school games, it plops you down and says, here, figure it out, and some may find that off-putting. For those of you who like that style of game, you'll be met with a beautifully designed, rich world with an interesting story and great solid gameplay at a budget price. Songbringer gets a 7 out of 10.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page, the link's in the description below, to see what's coming up next.